I vibe coded an AI sales agent for a course hub website that lets the user discover courses, get detailed information about the courses, find the courses that match your skill set, and even enroll in the courses by making the payment using Razorpay. The tech stack that I used for this was Next.js 15, Supabase for the database, and Razorpay to make the payment. I also use Clerk to log in and do the sign up via Google. Now coming to the AI stack, I used Versal AI SDK as the base AI SDK layer, Mastra as the agentic framework, and Grok to connect to the LLMs like Qwen 332 billion LLM. I also used two MCPs, the Supabase MCP and the Razorpay MCP. The Supabase MCP, which connects to the database, is used to search for courses, get course details, and so on. The Razorpay MCP is to do the actual enrollment of buying the course and creating the order and getting the payment status. So last week, Cursor launched its version 2.0. So I built this application completely with Cursor, and I use a lot of its new features in it as well. Start with, this is the prompt that I entered. I want a sales agent for my course website. So since I come from an engineering background, I provided the entire stack to Cursor to make sure that I can manipulate the code much more easier going. But this is obviously not needed if you are vibe coding with no coding knowledge. In my case, I mentioned that I specifically wanted Next.js 15 and Supabase. I wanted to use Clerk for the auth, and I wanted these AI agentic tools to be used as well. So one of the things I always do is to ask the LLM to give me a list of API keys I need to fill to make the app run correctly. So this helps me do the manual task very easily to collect all the API keys and simply add it to the env local file. Now honestly, I can tell you that I just added this prompt and everything just worked correctly, but that is definitely not the truth. I started off with this prompt. I then asked the agent to run in browser and fix the errors, run in browser to test again, and kept pointing to specific issues that the AI faced, and then mentioned that the scroll is not working and so on. And finally it did work. So there would still be a lot of trial and error that you have to do to get your application actually working correctly. Now before we deep dive into the functionality of the AI agent, let's have a quick look at the top 3 Cursor 2.0 features and how to practically use them. So the first feature is called multi-agents, where instead of assigning one task to one LLM, you can assign the same task to multiple LLMs. So let's look at how to do that. So in the Cursor agent mode, you would typically see 3 drop-downs: the agent drop-down, the LLM drop-down, and the local drop-down. The agent drop-down lets you switch between agent plan ask. The LLM dropdown is where you can select from multiple LLMs. Here, if you see, there is a new option that's come in called use multiple models. This multiple model only is available for the worktree mode, not the local mode. So do remember that. Worktree is when you have a Git repository set up so that multiple LLMs can run on multiple Git branches. Let's take an example of, say, the 2 buttons, browse courses and talk to AI advisor. I want the 2 buttons to be exactly the same width. So on my agent screen, I can select a single LLM and give this task. There are 2 buttons on my UI, make sure the width is same for both. Or I can select use multiple models and select, say, Composer 1, Claude 4.5 and GPT-5 codecs. And when I click submit, you can see that there are 3 different models running parallelly. So before this feature of multi-agent, I would probably say something like, there are 2 buttons on my UI, browse course and talk to AI advisor, make sure the width is the same for both, and ask one LLM to do this task. But now I can select use multiple models and select, say, 3 different LLMs and click on submit. Here you can see that all the 3 LLMs are running parallelly to do the exact same task of fixing the width of the buttons. You can also notice that certain LLMs are faster, maybe cheaper, and also more efficient in doing the task. Now, if I want to check the result of one of the executions, I can just simply click apply all, and this would now render the result onto my browser. You can see that the browse courses and talk to AI advisor width has now been fixed. Instead, if I want to undo it, I can just click on undo apply. Now access the result of the second task and click on apply all here. Again, you can immediately see the impact of the change on the UI. Now, there are 2 main reasons why I used multi-agents for my application development. One, if I want to see different UI flavors. Or second, I want to fix bugs when one LLM is not doing its job correctly. So let me know in the comments if you find some other use cases as well. Now we have already seen the second functionality of the native UI browser. So the browser that you see here is actually running inside Cursor. So this allows Cursor to provide a functionality called select element. Select element lets you select any UI element inside this Cursor native browser, and this gets added to the agentic chatbot automatically. So Cursor actually has more context as compared to other AI IDEs. Select Element is actually a game changer, because if you have been using LLMs to build code, you would realize that the biggest problem is context or lack of context. So the more context you provide to the LLM to fix a bug, the better the results would be. So with Select Element, you are exactly pinpointing where the bug that you see is on the screen. So Cursor provides the LLM exact context. The other practical use case is of course UI testing and automation in case you need to build a robust application with automation tests. And finally, like you already saw, Cursor released its own Composer One LLM, which is cheaper and faster. Efficiency is an open discussion. There are some benchmarks which say that it is much better than most LLMs, but I think it's a matter of testing there. Now let's get back to sales AI agent development. So as you can see, there is a chatbot on the bottom right where you can write, "Hi, show me courses on Java." So this responds with, "Let me search for Java courses for you right away." And then it is making an MCP call to Supabase. Supabase is the database. With this call to Supabase, it's able to actually retrieve the data from the database related to the word Java. So it detects that there is a Java programming masterclass. Let's have a quick look if this is correct. So if I go and search for the word Java here, you can see that you would see JavaScript and web development and mobile, but Java programming masterclass, this is the right one. Now let's take another example. Let's say, "Show me web development courses." Now in this case, it's able to find two web development courses, the complete web development beginner or the advanced JavaScript and TypeScript course. Now there are two ways to actually pay this course as well. Now what is very interesting is this demo application also has a Razorpay link. Also has an integration to Razorpay payment. I can simply click on enroll now and it would open up the pop-up where I can actually make my payment to purchase this course. And I also have the option to do the exact same thing in the chatbot. I can say enroll for Java course and it would say I'd be happy to find it, and it found the actual course, which is the Supabase MCP call. And then it can say to proceed, I would need a few details. So I can simply enter my details to purchase. So after I enter my details for the purchase to enroll, I can simply click on enter, and this is making a Razorpay MCP call with a pay now button. So now this is again opening up the pop-up to make the payment via the chatbot. And this is an actual agentic use case where a single agentic bot can help you find your course as well as make the payment to complete the entire loop. Now let's quickly understand the flow of the AI agent. Vercel is the AI SDK framework. So when I write a question like, "Hi, what can you do?" Here Vercel is making a call to the LLM using its own functions via Grok. I've used Grok because Grok provides a free API key to start testing LLMs. But so far there are no tools or agentic cases. But if I want to search for Java courses, "Show me Java courses," this is making a call to the Supabase MCP server via a framework called Mastra. Mastra is an agentic framework. So Mastra is simply connecting the Vercel AI SDK to the Supabase MCP server to be able to filter down all the courses which have the word Java in it. When this response is given back to the LLM understands that this is the Java programming courses, but there are similar related JavaScript courses. It's taking an assumption that maybe you might also want to know about the JavaScript courses. Now the same AI chatbot also can do the payment or checking the payment processing, maybe ask for a refund, all the payment related tools. This is where the Razorpay MCP comes in. Now why Razorpay works is because I have configured Razorpay account and taken the Razorpay API key and secret and added it into my .env.local file. With that, I'm giving the AI agent access to this Razorpay account. You can also try this with Cashfree or PayPal or any payment gateway. Similarly, I also provide the Supabase key and URL to be able to access the Supabase database via the MCP. And the core LLM access is provided by the Grok API. So I've pushed the entire code to my public GitHub repo. You can find the link in the description below. To give you an idea about the errors that I faced when I built this application, I've also put all the failed prompts in the description below so that you get a practical example of how I keep fixing it. And finally, I have cleaned up the prompt on what might make it easier for you to run it the first time itself, but usually you would still need to do it multiple times to get it running. Let me know in the comments what other video you would like to see from me.